Hi guys, in this video we are going to look at the game 9 from the FIDE World Chess Classical Championship match between Gukesh and Ding Liren. This is the game 9. Gukesh is playing the white pieces. Ding Liren is playing the black pieces. So the score had been 4-4 for the two players. Let's see what game 9 has to offer. However, most of you have seen this game, but my own personal review is just coming now. Well, enjoy the beauty the game has to offer. I'm just going to deliver it to you as if you've not watched it before. And even if you have watched it before, there are things I'm still going to talk that it may be similar to your idea and may be new to you. So let's kick in. Gukesh went on with d4. He tries to spice things up. In this position here, this is called the queen's pawn. It's a queen's pawn. D4 is a queen's pawn. There are many variations connected to D4. One of the famous setup is the London system, where the bishop comes up. Here we have the pawn to E3, ninth, then ninth, pawn. We are going to have a very nice structure here connected to the dark squared bishop. So in this game, are we going to see that? Well, it's up to the players. However, whatever they choose to give to us, we are going to enjoy it like that. Well, this is chess, a world-class chess game. What did Ding Liren play? What did he respond with? Your opponent's response in chess might affect your operation. So, in this position, knight to f5, knight to f6. That was a mistake. Knight to f6. Look at the square. Comes up. So we have c4, e6. Now this introduces the Indian game, still under the queen's pawn opening. Well, pawn to g3, then we have the bishop to b4 check. It's not new. When this diagonal was open, the bishop was set loose and c4 was already on the board. So with c4, this check is bound to happen. What happened? Bishop to d2. An idea. Blocking that bishop from checking the king, harassing it. Now the bishop becomes the prey. It was the predator before, now is the prey. So what to do? There are continuations like knight move to c6, defending it. This is chess. Many ideas can work. Some ideas can work, some cannot work. And in some games, you might see this move, you might see this, you might see this one also, which is okay. Well, a minute, my light went off. So, in this game, Ding Liren playing the black pieces. What did he do? He went on to play bishop to e7. He chooses the runaway approach. He did not protect. There was no piece to block. In this case, he ran back with the bishop. Bishop to safety. After bishop to g2, we can see the purpose of pawn to g3 in the first place, opening a free square for the bishop to come and control this long diagonal. That was Gukesh's idea. Here we have pawn to d5. Pawn to d5 does two things. According to me, if it was me playing this game, I'm going to put in this concept. The point of this bishop staying on this long diagonal give the bishop very strong strength and would influence my choice of developing either the knight or the pawn or the bishop in that queen side. So playing pawn to d5 temporarily cuts out the bishop from having access to this long diagonal and give me time to plan my coordination in the queen side. So I can even castle as black here after white response. Well, what did Gukesh play? Let's see. Gukesh went down to play knight to f3. There was no pawn take because pawn take leads to pawn take or knight takes. Well, that's okay. However, after knight to f3, you see there is pawn take right away. That would be, if pawn takes, you see, the variation that comes with knight c3 controlling this square, that would provoke pawn to c5, which we have seen in most cases where pawn to c5 comes up, challenging the pawn in the center. However, if this happens, there can be a massive, okay, we are still here, then black will just play this. It's possible, we have seen this, or we can still see it in more games to come. However, in this game, it was a different concept. Pawn did not take. After knight f3, Ding Liren with the black PC just go ahead to castle the king to safety out of the center. Here, Gukesh also castle. Then we have pawn defense pawn, having a good structure in the center, looking like that of the Slav structure. That's what I used to call it, the Slav structure, covering everywhere and keeping the pawns on the light squares. Now, this light square, bishop needs to find a way out and join in this game. Queen comes up. In case of pawn takes, if pawn takes, queen takes. That's an idea. So, Ding Liren chose to spice this up first. He played a different move, knight on b to d7. Rook came in, rook to d1. Not doing too much, but it's a future move. It's a move that poses threat of when that file clears, there will be an attack on the queen. Ding Liren went for pawn to b6. Here, bishop, knight, queen, rook again, following the queen. Then we have this. Only now did we see pawn to c5. This particular queen side has pawn dominance, and the pawn strength are just too cool, so they are looking scary. Ding Liren chose to break out the connection with pawn to c5. What happened? Pawn takes on b, pawn takes on c5. Then we have queen. Queen coming over to that square has a hidden plan. Wants to bring rook to b1 and pressure this bishop. Knight blocks to b6. Then we have bishop coming over to a5. This pins the knight to the queen. You have to be careful. Now the knight has a stronghold over e5. Then, if there's a clearance such as probably pawn takes, bishop take, the bishop also will be pinned. Then many things can happen, like knight over to b3. Concept, what to do here. Ding Liren took the pawn first on c4. Knight takes, applying pressure to the pinned piece on b6. Bishop takes, attacking the queen. Pawn takes. Now, only now did bishop take on f3, also threatening the rook with tempo. Ding Liren saved the rook, defended the pawn twice. Queen defense, rook defense. Let's not forget that pawn also was attacked twice too by the queen and the knight. What to do? There comes queen to b5. Queen to b5 at the moment is still cementing the threat on this pawn. However, the queen movement kept this pawn undefended. Ding Liren went for it instantly. He took it. Knight takes pawn. Queen moves away. Then we have the queen coming back home. In this position, the rook pins the knight to the queen. What to do? Pawn takes. Rook goes back. We have queen. Here, bishop took the pawn on c5, thereby removing the defender of that knight. Now the knight is left defended with just only one piece, which is the queen. We have 1, 2, and 3 on that knight. In this position, Gukesh went for queen takes bishop. Queen takes. Now we have rook takes that queen on b6. Rook goes up. this place, Gukesh is offering an exchange of peace. It's not a bad thing to decline. However, Ding Liren says, okay, look at the time on the board, and I think we have equal number of pieces. Then the game is looking like a draw already. So on move 27, rook takes, bishop takes, now pawn push. After king to g2, rook to b2, attacking this pawn. There can be a defense like this with bishop coming back home, then king, even king. So Ding Liren attack the pawn, but Gukesh choose to defend with king to f1. After the king moves, we have pawn push, rook comes out to play. Rook attacks the bishop on c6. Bishop goes to safety. After rook attacks again, bishop went back home. Here, knight comes out to play. Pawn push, pawn takes, disconnecting these two king side strong connected pawns. Rook goes to c3. After the king moves, knight joins in attack. We have only one defender for that bishop. That is why Gukesh employed the concept of bringing the king. Knight takes, pawn takes. Here, rook comes down, intending to come over to this square h2 to pick up this pawn. King to f3. Rook attacks the pawn on d3. Rook to a3 defends the pawn. Here we have king mobility. With this series of moves, check comes up, pawn blocks. Only now did he take the pawn. An intermediate move come in after rook takes, check, king moves. Here, Ding Liren with the white pieces took the pawn. Pawn takes, opening an attack on the king. So king has to move. With tempo, he takes the pawn and goes to safety. King comes in. We have pawn push. Here, king moves. We have check. King stays. It is very important to understand the concept of king to h2. This is h pawn, the rook pawn. The landing square for this pawn is h1. So if the king stays here throughout, this pawn can never be promoted. So far this rook is on the board, the rook will belong to a1, and the game will only continue from there as long as possible. And in fact, once the rook also cut out this king from supporting in this activity, the rook and the pawn is not enough to get a pawn promoted. Is not enough. So what happened? King to g6. We have rook. Rook to g5. Rook takes rook. Here we have king takes on g5. King moves. King moves away from the pawn. Here, king takes pawn. The game end in a draw. Like I said earlier, it was 4-4 before. With this draw, the both player after round 9 have 4.5. Stay tuned for round 10, game 10 on this channel. We are still going to 14 games. See you in the next game.